Yo, we have finally returned to The Boys. We are on the 7th episode of Season 2, which means we have a good 9 or 10 episodes left in the series as a whole. Again, I have not had a lot of time to watch this series. I've definitely found some time for Breaking Bad because it's just such a monumental series in television. But, yeah, here we go. Alright, let's just get into it. Using the fear of immigration, episode 7 of The Boys season 2 wastes no time hitting the satirical heart of what makes this show so good. Stormfront takes to the news and rouses up paranoia and fuels her own personal army. So in a rebellion, kind of against the Vought. She is against the Vought. And it's crazy. Her and Homelander are kind of in this toxic relationship where she's against the Vought, but Homelander vouches for the Vought. He is the Vought. He is the Seven. Among them is a bearded man who slowly gives in to his fears and shoots a shopkeeper in cold blood. Oh my god, this was a crazy opening to the show. I really liked how they did this. This guy going through his daily routine and finally kind of having enough and killing a shopkeeper. I loved that. Believing wrongly that he is a soup, it's apparent that Stormfront's message is getting through and working. So she's like, well, I must be saying something. Right, I guess. With Lamplight's testimony, Butcher scoffs at Congress as they reveal they don't have enough evidence surrounding Compound V. In order to take a shot at the King, they need to trust each other and really hit the Seven where it hurts. Butcher receives a call from his mother confirming that his father has died, which didn't actually happen when he shows up to the residence. So we learn more about Butcher, and this is a great touch on the creator's part. Just learning more about Butcher throughout this show. You know, with his brother Lenny, his aunt, his grandma, all these different people in his life kind of calling him and like showing their concern for him, and yada yada yada. She pleads with him to meet, and he does just that, showing up at the apartment. He isn't just dead. She just wanted him to come to the apartment. Only it turns out his father isn't actually dead. He's sitting on the porch outside, and they kind of have a toxic father-son relationship. Reluctantly, they talk, with Butcher blaming him for Lenny's death and leading the two to come to blows. So he kind of blames his dad for everything. It's kind of an emotional moment between him and his father. He accuses Butcher of being the reason for Lenny's death, so they're kind of accusing each other. They're kind of in denial, kind of in this stage of grief, I guess. At the same time, Huey is stuck inside watching porn with a lamplighter, which is pretty comical, that lamplighter sitting here watching porn. I don't know, I thought it was funny. With changing channels off the table, they both instead talk about their families now they've been pushed to the sidelines. So Huey's like, dude, this is just fucking foul. This is just obscene. We need to switch the channel. And the lamplighter's like, oh, no. If you do that, I'll burn your fucking hand off. At the same time, Starlight is cornered by her mom in a restaurant who pleads with her daughter to talk. So, oh my god, some bad things happen to Starlight in this episode. I will fucking say that right now. Again, this is a spoiler. I will get to it, okay? There, she mentions how alone she feels. Starlight feels alone in her fight here with the Seven, with the Soups, to kind of get out of it. She feels cornered at times because people don't share her opinions. She feels alone that her mom's not there to help. Unfortunately, Starlight isn't actually alone, thanks in part to her mother phoning Ashley prior to their meeting. So, yeah. Black Noir bursts in unannounced and starts beating Starlight down, eventually capturing her. So I guess Black Noir got sent out to fucking capture Starlight. It was kind of crazy. Capitalizing on this death, Stormfront and Homelander work together to get their message across. At this conference thing, Homelander is greeted with some applause because he's with Stormfront. He's kind of starting to build his name back up. They plead with the angry crowd to allow Compound V to be approved and have more superheroes counteract the villains. So now they're like, okay, it's kind of traumatizing that we had to go through the Compound V process and we didn't know for so long, but hey, we need to use it to our advantage now. We need to get more superheroes together, that sort of thing. They also confirmed the mole, Starlight, has been captured. So they're like, she's like an outcast. She went against us. She got captured. Do not go against us or else this will happen to you, I suppose. Huey happens to be watching and encourages Lamplighter to work with him to free Starlight. So that's kind of a developing story. That's kind of their mission for this episode. Huey and Lamplighter go on a mission, man. They're out there, man. trying to get Starlight back. Um, Things take a turn for the worse when Stormfront and Homelander show up at Becca's with Ryan. So, Becca doesn't want Homelander or any suit to have anything to do with Ryan because they have bad influences. They make the kid want to use his powers, and she doesn't want to raise him that way. She wants to raise him as a normal kid. At the same time, Grace and Mallory arrives with MM to see a former scientist who used to work at Sage Grove, Vogelbaum. This is not the first we've seen of this guy. He was in Gotham, the actor, by the way, which is cool. I thought that was nice. Pleading with him to work together, Jonah eventually declines their invitation. They're not the only visitors either, as Butcher shows up and asks questions about Homelander's upbringing, trying to get the scoop, trying to get more out of Vogelbaum. Originally, Homelander didn't even want to be a powerful superhero, but Jonah soon turned him around. Same with Ryan, really. They kind of mirror each other in that aspect. Threatening to kill his entire family, Butcher stares unblinking at the doctor as he watches on in fear. So, yeah. Elsewhere, A-Train shows up at Deep's party. Alistar joins them at the bar and reveals that the Starlight issue has opened up places in the 7 for them both. So Starlight's out, and A-Train was already out before, so A-Train and the Deep could return, and they could just have Stormfront as Starlight's replacement pretty much from the original. This could be their ticket in. This news is soured slightly by the announcement that Eagle has been kicked out of the program. Something is seriously not right with this. So, yeah, the Eagle, the guy that helped the Deep get out of his bottomless pit. With Elena gone, Maeve struggles to contain her anger. Heartbroken, she instead tries to channel her feelings by sleeping with a random guy at Vought HQ, breaking her gay persona, her marketable persona that the 7 has wanted her to go for, that Vought has wanted her to go for. When Ashley shows up, she tells her PR rep to be a human being given what she's been through. Becca, meanwhile, takes Homelander outside and pleads with him not to disrupt Ryan's well-being and structure. So again, she doesn't want Homelander really interfering with Ryan's life. She wants him to kind of stay out of it. Come here every once in a while for, obviously, the father visits and the normal thing in a divorce, really. That's what it is. As an impassioned plea eventually sees him agree, but this is all ruse. Homelander manages to turn Ryan away from Becca, and he flies away with his son in tow. So yeah, Homelander pretty much kidnaps Ryan, pretty much manipulates his mind, and they're off. They're out of here. So yeah. Lamplighter deceives Huey as he heads up to the main atrium and sees that his statue has been moved, so the emotions kind of get the best out of Lamplighter here, and yeah. On the back of this, he burns himself to a crisp after mentioning how he only wanted to please his father, and now his statue's not up there, he's heartbroken. Lamplighter dies. So, as the alarms blare, Starlight uses her powers to break free from her cage now that the security guard is gone, now that the alarm and all this, the restraints are off the room, she's out. Only this brings her face to face with Black Noir, who starts beating her down. Black Noir is not going to let her get away with this, I guess, and he just takes the fight to her, so. Thankfully, Maeve arrives and grabs Noir around the neck to rescue Starlight. She grabs an almond bar and stuffs it in his mouth. It turns out he has a nut allergy, which sees him choking and writhing in pain on the floor, so I'm not sure if he dies or not, but yeah, that's something we learned about Black Noir. That's interesting. Pleading with Maeve to join her, she declines and walks away. Zanny finally catches up with Huey, so she wanted Maeve to join her in kind of the rebellion of the 7, kind of help her cause, but no, she has to join up with Huey. On the way, though, Huey manages to free her mother from an adjacent cell. So not only did they capture Starlight, they also captured her mother, which was kind of crazy. This family reunion is short-lived, though, as they all scramble out the house. With everything starting to unravel for the rebels, Deep in A-Train watch as the church start to slander and bury Eagle. They soon change the channel over as a big committee meeting gets underway. Oh my god, this was nuts. There, Jonah arrives as a witness to what happened in the past. In shock, Homelander and the rest of the 7 watch on. Only heads literally start exploding as the room is overcome by panic. Unfortunately, this also leads to the broadcast suddenly ending and they can't see what happens next. Wondering just what to do next, Butcher's plan comes unraveled as he watches in unbridled rage. So heads are just exploding, FBI agents and judicial officials are just getting fucking destroyed and killed. It was kind of crazy. I think it's Cindy. I think it's this girl right here, she's kind of becoming the main villain instead of the Seven. It's kind of shifting over to her, which I think is interesting. Could we see Butcher taking Compound V and becoming a soup to take on Homelander? That is definitely a big question. That seems to be the direction this one is taking next, and it really sets everything up for an explosive final episode for this season. So again, this is the finale before the finale, so you gotta kind of set something up. In a way, this very much felt like a deep breath before that aforementioned finale, and leaves plenty of questions on the table to be answered. I'd imagine Deep and Train are going to come back into the fold at some point, but not quite how their angle will play out. That remains to be seen. We're not sure how that will happen. The bloody conclusion to this episode will almost certainly see Homelander and Stormfront take advantage of the fear to rile up their personal army, to get the trust of their personal army. In that respect, this cleverly written episode really leans into the topical issues gripping various nations across the world, and it works so well with the satirical tone of this series, so there's definitely some social commentary on this episode, while also being just an irregular episode. Quite what the finale has in store for us remains to be seen, but one thing's for sure, it's going to be a seriously wild ride. I can't wait to watch it. I'll probably try to watch it tomorrow night, so yeah, that's pretty much it. I got 2 movies to review.